Welcome back to another week of Eye of the Storm, a Guelph Storm podcast with myself, Ryan Drury, the voice of your Guelph Storm on Rogers TV. Very pleased to be joined by one of the veteran guys on the team now. Feels weird to say that, Quinn Beauchesne. Quinn, how are you?
I'm good, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Does it sound weird when I say that? One of the veteran guys on the team? I mean, you've been around the block for a little while now. What is that like? Time's just flying by.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I still remember the day I was just walking into the building for the first time, just signing the contract, and it felt like yesterday. I was just getting going, so it's pretty exciting. Being an older guy now that the young guys can lean on and ask advice. So it's definitely a different feeling around the rink, but it's obviously exciting. So
On that note, you talk about giving advice to some of the younger guys. You've already been able to represent your country a couple times, the under 17s, the under 18s. Now you get some teammates that are going to be taking part in those tournaments that you did very well in, by the way. I'm sure that they've maybe turned to you for some advice in terms of representing Canada because it's a special honor that you've had a couple times now.
yeah, of course. And I was actually just talking to our mental performance coach, who's also working closely with the Hockey Canada stuff too. So it's always a great experience. I'm really looking forward to conversations I have with those guys about it, just soaking it all in, learning from everyone there. I mean, it's the best of the best players, but also just staff wise too. So just picking their brains, learning lots. And obviously it would be great to come away with gold, but if you're not coming home with that, then just come home with, a lot of different tips and tricks that you can put into your game back in Guelph.
You mentioned also, becoming a new member of an organization, signing a contract and all that. Well, you had a pretty special experience this past summer, obviously getting drafted into the National Hockey League by the Pittsburgh Penguins. What was that moment like for you and your family hearing your name called by an NHL team, Quinn?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. I mean, just we were just set up at the house, just watching it. My grandparents, my parents, some of my buddies, my girlfriend were all there, so it was pretty cool. It was pretty surreal hearing that come on the TV there. Like it's nothing's better than that. It's something you've worked for your entire life. Then obviously the time in Pittsburgh was nothing short of amazing.
Obviously, when you look at that organization, they're kind of in a bit of a reset mode in terms of getting prospects in. Did you kind of look at that, after you kind of came down from the high of getting drafted? Did you kind of look at that as a unique scenario for yourself where you're going to have a really, different opportunity than maybe some other young guys that are drafted by other organizations might have in terms of trying to develop and maybe quickly become a part of that team that needs some young talent, especially in the position you play?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like everyone, they always trying to analyze every team, and it's hard not to look too much into it. But yeah, of course, there's definitely a great opportunity there, and I think no matter what team it was, I think I was going to be willing to just do whatever it takes to ultimately play on that team in a couple of years. So no, I'm really happy with Pittsburgh. They were amazing to me. The staff were awesome. The players were really welcoming, and it was obviously pretty cool to be around some of those guys that are, some of the best that have ever played. So it was awesome.
Who all over there did you kind of get to interact with? I mean, I think everybody, when they think about defensemen, they think about Pittsburgh. They think about a guy named Chris Letang. They think about guys like Eric Carlson, of course. I mean, going to development camp, that whole experience, being able to go down there, maybe learn a little bit about the city. What was that whole experience like for you, and how much did you kind of get to interact with other guys and pick their brain?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I think starting at the prospects game, just meeting some of the, their higher end prospect guys like Owen Pickering, Harrison Brunick, who's playing there now, like just picking their brain, seeing what they do on a daily basis too, and seeing how their journey has kind of gone so far. But I honestly got to talk to some of the older guys like more than I thought I would, like Crosby, Letang, Carlson. I was in one of the inter squad games, just sitting on the bench beside Carlson on the tank. So it's kind of cool just, looking over your shoulder and seeing those two guys being the other two defensemen going out the door during the scrimmage. So yeah, it was awesome. They were all really nice to me, very welcoming. Another guy like Kevin Hayes on the forward side. He was just all the guys there. Like I can't say enough good things about each and every single one of them.
When you're kind of in the same breathing space as a guy like Sidney Crosby, that's got to be kind of an interesting feeling, right? A young kid, you've wanted to play in the NHL your whole life, and there's Sid like across the ice right next to you, right there. I mean, that had to have been quite an experience for you.
Yeah, well, as I remember telling my buddies, my dad, and my girlfriend, just some of the stories coming out of that camp. Like everywhere he was, I was trying to be just following around like a little lost puppy there. But no, it was so surreal. Like just the guy he is. Like you can't say enough good things about him. He's pushing in people's chairs, like being the leader he is. So he's just not only a world class player, but he's just a world class person as well.
And I know that you've, definitely taken pride in being a guy like that now that you're a more veteran guy on the team for some of the younger players. I mean, you look at this defense core that you're a part of with the Guelph Storm, and just as recently getting a new addition like Patrick Babin into the mix, a 17-year-old kid with a high ceiling, kind of has a similar type of game to yourself, too. Like, what's it been like for you being one of the more older guys on the team now and kind of showing other guys the way?
Yeah, it's cool. It's totally different. I remember, being a little intimidated of the older guys when I first came in, just not sure like what to expect and stuff. So it's nice being able just to kind of give them the experience that I know that I got and would have wanted from the older guys. Just being able to talk to them. I think age doesn't really matter to me. I think you treat them like any other your teammates, whether your age, younger, whatever it is, and just always be there for them to help them, whether it's stuff on ice, off ice. But yeah, no, it's obviously really cool being looked up to, and to be a leader on this team. It's important to me, and I think yeah, all you can do is just try and help people no matter how old they are.
Well, and a big part of that, obviously, not only are you looked at as a leader on that decor, but you are, just in terms of the roster this year, getting an A stitched on your jersey this year. When you think back to the young kid who first came into this team, and now you're here and you're looked at as part of the key leadership core with a letter on the jersey. What's that mean to you, Quinn?
Yeah, it means a lot. I think before hockey was even ever a thing, I think my parents always just try to raise me as just a good person first and foremost. So I think that still sticks with me today. Just when I'm going to the rink, I think just being a good person, being there for teammates, being a leader, just being respectful person through and through. And I think that's really important to me, and it means a lot that they put an A on my jersey. So it means something to me. It means something to my family. But yeah, it's obviously really cool.
I want to read you your draft report before you got drafted here on Elite Prospects. It says a high end skater. Beauchesne jumps from spot to spot in the offensive zone, catches passes at the point, gets them on net quickly, pinches on loose pucks and makes great plays, prevents breakouts, and moves passes to teammates in the slot consistently, reclaims space across the ice, is physical for his size, and can shut down backdoor plays. His feet never stop moving. That sounds pretty accurate to me, I think, eh?
Yeah, I think there's obviously parts of the game that you always want to keep improving on. And I know my game's changed a bit since coming into the OHL, but yeah, I definitely want to keep showing that, the offensive flash that I know I have inside of my game. But yeah, no, I think that's one of the biggest things that I've always tried to prove to people is I can still be physical no matter what my size is. I don't necessarily think I'm small, but technically, I guess for an NHL defenseman one day, maybe a little undersized. But yeah, I think the heart's a lot bigger than my size.
I certainly agree with that. I mean, I don't think anybody could ever accuse you of backing down from anybody in your time in the Ontario Hockey League so far. I'm always interested, from a defenseman's point of view, especially a guy like you, right shot, you've got a big cannon, you can really create offense in multiple ways, and your shot's a big part of that. How much tweaking goes into your shot, the way you release it? How much do you consider, your curve, your lie? Like, is that something that you're always kind of talking about, maybe even with your assistant coach, Rob Davidson? Like, how much thought goes into that throughout a season, say?
Yeah, a ton actually. And I think that was one of the things that I learned pretty fast when I first came into the OHL, that just the little stuff matters. Like, one missed shot that goes high, it's the difference between a rebound and, who knows if it's a goal, and could be the difference maker in a game. So I think that stuff's always getting tweaked. I'm actually in the middle of potentially making a small change with my stick right now. It's funny that you said that. So yeah, it's always changing, curve, flex, whatever the case may be, just to get more pucks on net, be a little more accurate, keep them low and hard for a D. But yeah.
I think that players in your position too, especially an offensive defenseman with the talent that you have, you see a lot of power play time out there, and I think that players that play in your position in particular get yelled at by the crowd, shoot, more than any other player on the ice. Help people understand that it's not that simple. Like when you're out there trying to open lanes up, moving the puck around from the top of the zone, it's not as simple as just cocking back and letting a shot go, is it?
Yeah, no, not quite that simple. I mean, I appreciate
Yeah.
their help if someone was getting behind me or something like that, but honestly, not that simple. I think the QB's got a lot of jobs on the power play just to run that, distribute it to the forwards who can make plays down low, and and who also have cannons on their side though too. But yeah, no, it's always fun to let one go from the point here and there.
So obviously, the way you guys are operating on the power play so far this year, a heavy umbrella setup. You like to set up the one timers on the flanks and have guys right down low, in tight to the net. When you're running a power play like that, obviously there's a couple different penalty kill approaches. Guys can either play a diamond and have a guy right in tight to you to cause problems up top, or they can have a box and back off a little bit. And when they do that and give you more space up top, what are you kind of looking for in terms of opening a lane for yourself where you consider, do I shoot here or do I make a pass?
Yeah, I think always you always want to kind of keep them guessing. So whether it's throwing a shot on the net early, just so that they think, oh, you might shoot again, and then it gives the other guys a little more space so you can distribute a nice pass. But yeah, I think we've got great guys who can stand in front of the net and tip pucks really well. So I think just trusting them too. It doesn't always have to be necessarily a shot to score, but just to get a really good tip that can maybe go in or create another rebound. But yeah, just keeping the PK unpredictable is a huge thing.
How much easier is it for a guy like you that has to operate up top there to have a guy like Charlie Paquette on one side? And, in the past, you've had guys like Braden Bowman around. You've had a lot of guys around that can really let one timers go. The options are there. Now you look at a kid like Yako Wysick who's lighting up the score sheet, Carter Stevens. How much easier is it for a defenseman on a power play to have options like that out wide?
Oh, 100%. It's huge. I mean, you can't really run our power play one guy at all. So no, it's huge. We've got a really good roster this year, and I think we can be quite dangerous on the power play if we keep practicing and keep clicking. So no, it's good. It's obviously guys like Charlie and Yako and Stevens and Cleaner and all the guys. They're all dangerous. So obviously when they're dangerous, people tend to go to their sides, and it gives you a little more space up top. So it's always great.
In terms of your D partners and the guys on this D core, it's an interesting mix of guys, and I want to ask you a little bit about all of them. Let's start with one of the younger guys on the team, and Eric Fassard, a kid who's got a lot of size. He's a physical kid. What in your mind makes him special in terms of being an OHL player and a teammate?
Yeah, I think first and foremost that he's such a caring kid. He's always been like that since the moment he walked in. He's a really respectful kid, really puts his work boots on every single day, goes to work in the gym, goes to work in practice, always picking my brain, coach's brains, everyone's brain. He's always just trying to get better. So I really can't say enough good things about him.
Talk about putting your work boots on. Our guest last week, Rowan Top. I think that when people hear work boots, he's a name that certainly comes to mind. He's a heck of a kid. Eh? What's he like as a teammate and as a D partner sometimes?
Yeah, he's all time. He means so well always. He's actually pretty funny too. But yeah, no, he's the hardest working kid I know, man. He's always working out, always trying to get better, stick handling in the closet. He's doing absolutely anything he can to get better. So yeah, I think he's gonna make it one day just because of how hard he works.
I certainly agree with that. Absolutely. I think he's a pro player, no doubt. Talk about stick handling skills. Rylan Singh, another right shot guy. You guys kind of came in at the same time, similar type of skill sets. What is it about him? Because he can make some pretty nifty things happen with the puck out there.
Yeah, absolutely. He loves to throw that wand magic out there, and it's
Yeah.
worked for him once this year. So no, he's awesome. He's one of my closest buddies on the team. I love him to death. We're really close off the ice, but yeah, no, he's obviously a really good player on the ice too. He can make things out of nothing. He can stick handle his way through danger. But yeah, no, he's a great teammate as well.
Let's talk about a guy who's, I think, a very popular teammate because he's always there to stick up for people. And Grant Spada, a guy who also got drafted to the NHL this year. You guys kind of shared that experience. What is it about him that makes him such a special addition to this team?
Yeah, he's unique, man. He's one of a kind. I love him. We're also pretty close, and we've had our fair share of little battles during practice and stuff. But no, he's always there for the boys. He brings our team a lot closer together. So can't say enough good things about him. He's also one of those guys he's just continued to build and build and build, and he's really made a name for himself for the last couple of years. So I'm really proud of him.
Noah Jenkin, obviously a kid that came in a high profile trade last year, and he's just settled in so nicely. He's just so calm out there, never seems to panic. He must be a fun guy to be able to play with on occasion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those guys that you know what you're gonna get out of him, and he's pretty creative as well. So he can make plays all over the ice, and he's looks like he's becoming really confident and he's coming into his own. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do this year.
And then, of course, we'll save you from kind of breaking down Patrick Babin. He's too new, and we also want to have him on the podcast really soon. So we'll save that. But Daniel Skvortsov as well, a kid who's just came to North America last year, settled in really nicely. He's got a big booming shot. I mean, and he talk about getting physical. I mean, he got in a fight in the preseason. That was pretty impressive to see out of him, eh?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Danny's he's a good kid. He means well. He's his English is coming a long way too. So I think that's obviously helping him communicate with the guys and stuff. But yeah, no, he's also another guy. He just goes to work every day. He's a big, strong kid. So he puts the work in and he'll be successful.
Future podcast guest. I've heard the English is getting really good. We're
Yeah,
Daniel. We're not leaving you out. We're gonna bug you soon.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I want to ask you to just, and I've talked to a couple of your teammates about this already. The continuity going from year to year, having the same coaching staff come back. Obviously, we've talked about it a lot already. I know that the Storm didn't have the season that you guys wanted to. There were a lot of injuries, but to have this same staff come back and have a couple guys on that bench, particularly assistant coach Rob Davidson that works with you guys that have NHL experience, Corey Stillman, of course. Like, how important do you think has that been so far for yourself and your teammates, having that continuity and the same guys kind of pumping your tires and helping you guys get better?
Yeah, for sure. It's big. I think just having that consistency behind the bench, you know what you're gonna get. That makes it a lot easier going to the rink every single day. But yeah, no, like Davey's been awesome for me just on the D side of things. Lots of video, lots of learning from him. He played the game at a really high level for quite some time. So it's obviously nice when you have those guys that you can rely upon. And yeah, no, they've all been awesome. And I think our team this year too, we were disappointed with how the year went last year. So we're ready to take a step forward this year and we're ready to win.
Scott Simmons threw Davey under the bus last year. He told me that he has a really strange music playlist that jumps all over the place. I don't know how much you guys experience that, but I've heard like it'll go from like Metallica into Celine Dion. Have you guys experienced this?
No, that's the first time hearing it actually. So I'll have to get on him about that one. But no, today we were just chirping him about his shoes. So he's got quite the attire in the room every now and then too. So
What's wrong with his shoes?
oh, they were just a mess. He was wearing dress socks with like green Christmas shoes, which are apparently his indoor
What?
rink shoes. So who knows? I think you'd have to ask him that one. But yeah, no,
I
he's a
will.
great guy. You can joke around with him. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's been on the pod before. We'll definitely get him on again. He's quite a character. I genuinely wonder how much you guys maybe rib him about that goal he scored, the famous Vesataskala goal. How often does that come up in practice? Do you make
Yeah,
him recreate it?
yeah, seriously. Well, I know at the end of practice sometimes we do some empty net shots just to see if we're skating or not. So I've seen
Yeah.
him put a couple in the net, so he's clearly pretty good at that. But no, I haven't razzed him up about that one in a little while, so it's a good reminder.
Yeah, bring it up to him on the next road trip. Get your phone out and get the YouTube app out. Hey, Davo, tell me about this play. Yeah,
Yes.
I remember that one. I was actually in the building. I was in the building when that
There
happened.
you go.
I want to ask you too as well. Obviously, you go to your first NHL development camp, you get drafted this year. Like that's a huge off season for you. And I want to end on this, Quinn. I'm just curious, like from either Pittsburgh scouting staff, the management, and obviously, of course, the Storm front office, and yourself in combo with all those things. What are some goals that you've set out for yourself this year?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot on the line the last couple of years, whether it's Hockey Canada stuff or having the draft in the back of your mind last year. I think it's nice this year that the only thing that I want to do right now is win and work towards getting a contract. So I think for me it's just about going into each day with the right mindset, putting one foot in front of the other, doing the little things right, and obviously on the ice, just being consistent, being a good two-way defenseman who can show the offensive side, but also has that shutdown side to him as well. Can play physical, break up plays, be a good teammate as well. So yeah, there's I think a lot of little things that I'm trying to focus on right now, and it's all about just putting it all together.
And finally, we're a few years into your tenure here in Guelph, and I always like to ask guys this: what's so special about playing in the Royal City?
Yeah, I think nothing like Guelph when it comes to the fans and the building every single night. It doesn't matter who we're playing. I think we always know what we're gonna get. We're always gonna get passionate fans, whether it's young kids or season ticket holders that have been there for 20 plus years. They're always cheering us on. They're always being loud, bringing us energy. So can't say enough good things about them, and we really appreciate all their support.
Absolutely. Well said, man. Well, we appreciate all your efforts on the ice. You're a fun kid to watch, and Mark and I will keep bringing the energy when you keep scoring these goals. Okay,
Right on.
don't worry,
Yeah,
don't worry
hopefully I've
about
got a
that.
couple coming.
Absolutely. I think so. Well, Quinn, we really appreciate this. Congrats again on getting drafted. Huge accomplishment. Not a surprise to any of us. Really appreciate your time on the podcast today, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Take care. All the best.
Absolutely. All right. Remember, you can find this podcast on all your favorite podcast apps, YouTube, the team website, and the team website, or the Sleeman Center box office is where you go to get tickets to come down and watch Quinn Beauchesne and his Guelph Storm teammates play. We'll be back next week with more Eye of the Storm.